Okay, so I'm just going to mute everybody. And we'll make a start. Right, so come down to your mats, come to a comfortable seat. Good idea to have a block behind you. So we're just going to sit here with this comfortable position. So try and come into either cross-legged or like I'm sitting here. This is Siddhasana, where we just drop our knees out to the side, but find that upright spine. That's the important aspect of this. Oh, sorry about my cold. I'll try not to sniff too much. Right, we are going to hold a mudra while we're doing this. And the mudra that I've selected is called Agni Mudra. It's one of the fire mudras, so it works with the thumb. Thumb is the fire element, and it helps to balance the heat in your body. And it says it enhances your willpower and self-confidence in the yoga tradition. So it's really good for energy and for heat. And I think we need that early in the morning, and also because the weather is taking a bit of a downturn, isn't it? It's gone a bit cold. So let's get some heat. So the way that we do this, we take our right hand and we make a fist with the thumb pointing straight up. So right hand's a fist, thumb pointing straight up. Left hand, just open your hand with the palm facing up and place your right fist on the left palm. So you keep this position. So you're basically just supporting the right hand, and then you let the hands rest down in your lap. So it's just that right thumb pointing up into the air. So as we sit here in this upright position, relax your shoulders and gently close your eyes. So just take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. Just notice where you're holding any tension. So if this mudra is bringing any tension into that right hand, just make sure that the left hand is supporting it. So we don't want to generate tension in the hand. We're just utilizing this thumb and the fingers coming into the palm to generate the heat. So just a few breaths. And just take this opportunity to let go of any tension in the body. And since we're going to be working the hips this morning, see if you can take your focus to your hips. So as you breathe in, imagine that you're directing the breath all the way down to your hips. And as you breathe out, just imagine that you're releasing those hips just a little bit more. So there's a bit of a stretch going on here as we just sit in Siddhasana. We're starting to open up the hip flexors. Just breathing in and out. And then before we get into our asanas, we're going to switch to Ujjayi breath. So Ujjayi breath is also a breath that generates some heat in the body. So just take a breath in through the nose. And then as you breathe out, keep the mouth open and imagine that you're trying to fog the mirror in front of you. So like that movement with the mouth open. And then we're going to do 10 breaths in through the nose, out through the nose. So closing the mouth this time, but keeping that action as if you're fogging the mirror. So breathing in and breathing out. So remember, we say we channel our Darth Vader when we breathe in Ujjayi breath. So you can bring the breath into your in breath as well as your out breath. That little analogy of fog in the mirror, I think, helps you to get that closing in the back of the throat. So 10 breaths like this. I think we should be on about number 5. Five more. Make it audible, really hear your breath. Two more. When you've finished your 10, just let go of your mudra and place your hands on your thighs. Just breathe normally, in through the nose, out through the nose. Then take a nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop your chin towards your chest. So find that lovely stretch in the back of the neck and really send the shoulder blades down. And then gently blinking your eyes open, lift your head. Welcome to class. So let's get some movement here. Taking a breath in, float your hands up and overhead. And as you breathe out, twist to the right and float the hands down towards the right. So the right hand goes behind the left hand, resting on the right thigh. And just gaze over your right shoulder. Keeping that nice upright spine, shoulders down and relaxed. Breathing in. Float the hands all the way back up, back to center, around to the left. Breathing out. Left hand behind, right hand on the left thigh. Looking over the left shoulder. Starting to wake up the spine here. Breathing in. Come back to center. Let's do one more on each side. Breathing out. Breathing in. Reaching up. Really try and reach to the ceiling. Breathing out. Twisting to the left. Breathing in, return to center. Breathing out, take your hands to the side, to the mats at the side of you, fingertips to the mat. So we're going to do some side stretches from here. So taking a breath in, float your right hand up alongside your right ear. And as you breathe out, walk the left fingertips out to the side. So the action is keeping the right hip down on the mat and walking this hand out. We're not sort of slouching down into the left side. We're finding this lovely side stretch. Take a breath here. Breathing in, reaching the hand back up, walking the fingertips back to the mat. Taking a breath in, left arm up, really get that reach. Right fingertips walk out, so keep the left hip connected to the mat or your block and reach out to the side. So you're sort of keeping length in both sides of your body here. We're not crunching the right side that much, but we're really lengthening the left. And then breathing in, come back to center, breathing out, release. So just swap the cross of your legs. So now my left foot is in front of my right, so make sure you do it the other way around. And we're just going to do 2 more side stretches, but with the feet in a different position. So fingertips to the side, tummy muscles engaged. Find that straight spine, breathing in, left arm up. Right fingertips walk out as you breathe out. Breathing in, back to center. Breathing out, release. Breathing in, right arm up. Walk the left fingertips out. Reach to the side. So you can feel the difference here. The hip should feel a little bit different by just crossing the legs. Breathing in, back to center. Breathing out, release. Once more each side. Breathing in, really reach. Breathing out. Come back. Breathing in, right arm up. Breathing out, left fingertips. Reach into the side. Breathing in, bring yourself up. Release your fingertips, have a little shrug of the shoulders, a little wiggle. Things should be feeling quite a bit looser now. So just come into all fours. So plant your hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and have your toes into the mat. So strong legs here. And we're going to do 3 cat-cows. So take a breath in. And as you breathe out, round the spine, press the mat away from you. Breathe in. Breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, cat pose. Keep going. Breathe in. Breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, cat pose. Breathe in. Breathe out, cow pose. Breathe in. Come back to all fours. So let's start to get these hips woken up. So keeping that all fours position. Take a breath in, engage the tummy muscles, and as you breathe out, float the right knee out to the side. So we're going to just move that knee in a circular motion, trying not to drop too much to the left. So just going in a clockwise direction and remembering to keep breathing and then changing the direction to anti-clockwise. So really getting into the hip. And then place the leg back down. Let's do the same on the other side. Toes into the mat. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, float the left knee out to the side, keeping the right hip above the right knee. And then circle a motion. You draw in a big circle with your right knee. That's it. Keep the tummy muscles engaged. And then change the direction. And then place the knee back down. So now from this position, back into our all fours, taking a breath in, place your right hand behind your head, right elbow out to the side. Take a breath in, open up to the ceiling. And as you breathe out, take your right elbow towards your left wrist. So breathe in to open. Breathe out, elbow to wrist. So see if you can keep your hips stacked above your knees when you're doing this. You're getting a real nice twist in the upper body. Breathing in, opening up, breathing out, elbow to wrist. Place the hand back down on the mat, come back to all fours. Take a breath in, left hand behind the head, elbow out to the side, breathing in, opening up, breathing out, elbow to wrist. Breathing in, breathing out, breathing in, breathing out. We've done 3, let's do 1 more. Breathing out. And then plant your hands back on the mat. So taking a breath in here. As you breathe out, start to lift your knees and your hips and walk your feet all the way to your hands. Find your forward fold. And just bend one knee and then the other. You're really working into the legs and the hips. Drop the head down towards the mat. Just working into those joints. And then keeping the legs still. You can have a bend in them if you need to. Take a breath in. Hands go out wide. Come up with a strong straight spine. Lifting the arms up and overhead. Breathe out as you take your hands to the heart center. Well done. Let's just have a moment, let everything settle. And then we're going to do a nice flow. So standing up straight and tall at the top of your mat. Plant your feet into the mat, spread the fingertips, the toes wide. And then take a breath in, reach your hands up and overhead, take your gaze to your palms. And as you breathe out, bring them down through the midline, all the way down to the mat. Breathing in, hands to your shins, half forward fold. Find that flat back. Breathing out, hands to the mat. Bend your knees enough to plant your hands and step back into a plank position. So hold this nice, strong plank. So we're going to get some leg work in here. Taking a breath in. As you breathe out, lift your right heel up towards the ceiling. Breathing out, plant the toes. Breathe in, left leg goes up. Breathe out. Toes back to the mat. Once more on each side. So keeping that strength, you can feel the buttocks working here. Each side. So we're not finished yet. So you're back to plank. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, right knee to right elbow. Send the leg back. Breathe in, breathe out. Left knee, left elbow, send it back. If you can do one more, let's try one more, otherwise you can rest. Right knee, right elbow, left knee, left elbow, knees to the mat, sink back, extended child. Oh, that warmed us up, didn't it? So just take a breath here. And then breathing in, bring yourself back to all fours, toes into the mat. As you breathe out, downward facing dog. Taking a breath here. Walk your hands all the way back to your feet. Uttanasana, forward fold. Breathing in, hands up to the shins. Breathing out, forward fold once more. Breathing in, come all the way up and away from the mat. So keeping your hands up towards the ceiling here. Your gaze is between your palms. See if you can find some length in your neck, so don't crunch the back of your neck. Taking a breath in. As you breathe out, you're going to sit into chair pose. Tuck the butt under. Don't create a big dip here in your lower back. Tuck the butt under. Find that strength in your quads. Breathing in. Breathing out. Come back to standing. Try that once more. Take a breath in. Float your hands up alongside your ears. Take your gaze between the palms. Breathing in. Breathing out. Chair pose. See if you can sink any deeper. Breathe in. Breathe out. Drop your hands all the way down to the mat. Uttanasana. And walk them out along the mat. Then coming back to downward facing dog. So have your head drop between your arms. Get some more hip openers. Take a breath in. And as you breathe out, float your right leg up into the air. So pointing away with the right toe. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bend the right knee. Drop the right heel to the left hip. Opening out to the side. Breathe in. Breathe out. Return to center. Take your foot back to the mat. Back to downward facing dog. Let's just do that once more. Breathe in. Breathe out. Right leg up. Bend the knee. Drop it. Open. And then come back to center. Take the foot back down. And then just lift the right knee up to your chest. Step the foot forward and through. Help it through if you need to. So drop no, we won't drop the leg. We'll make it a bit tougher. So just drop the left heel down into the mat. Taking a breath in, sweeping your hands forward, coming up into crescent pose. Reaching into that little back bend. And then take a breath in. As you breathe out, float your hands all the way back to the mat. Drop the left knee down to the mat. And we're just going to move forwards and backwards into this nice stretch, working the hamstrings and the hips. A nice forward and backward move. A little bit like a lizard. Well done. So come back upright and bring the left knee in just a little bit closer so that it's underneath your left hip. You're going to plant your left hand down into the mat, bend the left foot up towards the ceiling, or if you get cramp, just straighten the leg. So bend it and bring it up and take the right hand back to meet that bent leg. And as you're opening out to the right, sort of dropping your right shoulder behind you and turning to gaze to the ceiling. Well done. And then release. So come back to all fours. Take your knees wide. Just have a little moment here in child's. Just a few breaths. And we're going to repeat those stretches on the other side. So breathing in, come back to all fours. Toes into the mat. Taking a breath in. Lifting knees and hips, come to downward facing dog. So we're working on the left-hand side this time. So taking a breath in, right toes into the mat, left foot floats up. Breathe in, breathe out, bend in the left knee, dropping the left heel towards the right hip as you open out to the left. Breathing in, come back to center. Breathing out. Take the foot back to the mat. Back to downward facing dog. Let's do that again. So breathing in, right foot into the mat, left leg floats up. Breathing out, bending the knee and dropping it to open to the side. And then straightening back up, placing the foot back down, back into downward facing dog. Take a breath in here. And as you breathe out, draw the left knee up to the chest and step it forward and through. So staying up on that back knee, but dropping the heel into the mat. Take a breath in, sweeping the hands forward, coming up to crescent pose. Breathing in, breathing out. Release the hands all the way to the mat. So drop the right knee to the mat, and let's just do those forward and backwards moves. So you can adjust the position of your front foot or your knee if you feel you're not getting enough of a stretch. Just really work into it. This is going to help us when we come to do our pigeon pose variations in a moment. We're really working into the hips here and freeing them up and loosening the hamstrings, because the tight hamstrings can cause problems with the hips, just like tight hips cause problems with our hamstrings. And even like I was saying last week, releasing the fascia on the sole of your foot can have an effect with your hips. It's amazing stuff. So bringing yourself back upright and bring the back knee in a little bit. So if you have trouble with the knee when you're resting on it, try and make sure that you're resting towards the top front of the knee. So you're not actually on the knee cap, you're on this fleshy bit at the front, and that will help to get you into this position. So you're going to lift that back leg. You're going to take your hand. Is that right? I feel like I've done the same side. We want to be on the other side, whatever we're doing. So make sure that you've done both sides here. Yeah. Whichever. Just make sure that you've bent the other knee and you're opening up. And then release. Come back to all fours. Just have a little moment here in child's. And then bring yourself up. So let's have a go at some of these pigeon options, shall we? So from your all fours, just walk your knees back in front of you. So when you're doing pigeon pose, you're literally just getting, straighten your legs out in front, you're literally getting a figure of four shape. So it's good practice for pigeon to just take the one knee out to the side. So a little bit like, well, this is Kapotanasana, when we take the knee out to the side and the sole of the foot to the side of the extended leg. But this time we're going to push the foot under the leg. So you're sitting up straight and tall, and you're really encouraging this right knee to come down to the side. So if you imagine when we come to pigeon, this is exactly the shape that we're making with the legs, but with one difference. If you think about it, the crossed or the bent knee is always in front of the straightened leg. So we're going to try that in a minute. This is just an easier way to get into it. So keep your upright spine, keep breathing, and don't force the leg down, but just gently encourage it to open a bit more. And then see if you can take it from under the leg and place it on top of the leg. So that's a whole different ball game, isn't it? Feels a lot tighter in the hip. This is my tight hip anyway, the right hip. So just keep sitting upright. Don't worry if your knee is quite a way away from the floor. This is still good practice. So we want the upright spine, and we want to encourage the knee to come down. So now extend the right leg. Just have a little wiggle. And we're going to do the same on the other side. So the left leg bends as if you're coming into Kapotanasana, dropping the knee out to the side, but we're tucking the ankle underneath the extended legs. You can just see your feet coming to the side and sit up straight and tall. So just get used to that position. And then bring the ankle and place it on top of the thigh. And now encourage it to go out to the side. Just a few breaths here. Okay, so release the foot and now take it out into an extended position. Just have a little tap of the thighs and the calves against the mat. And then you're going to bring your knees up into this bent position. So this one's a little bit more tricky. And we're going to need our hands to support us behind. But first of all, you've got to get the one leg and bend it and place the ankle just below the knee. And then take your hands behind you and press into the mat. So as you get into this position, you can bring your hands a little bit closer into the towards your hips. So can you feel that? Really getting into that right hip. So making that same figure of 4 shape with the hip. Just breathe into those hips. So this is a seated pigeon. It's not the full pigeon, it's a seated pigeon. So take the right leg back to the mat, and then you're going to have to help the left one to come up, and then take your hands as close as you can in towards your back, keeping your hips sitting down onto the mat. This one's much easier for me on this side. I'm really getting into that pigeon shape now. Well done. Keep breathing. And then release the foot to the mat. Straighten the legs out in front of you, have a little ease through the hips. So let's try one more before we get into full pigeon. So come down onto the mat, bend the knees. Take your right foot and bring let's do this properly. Right knee towards your chest, and then place the right ankle just below the left knee. So you can encourage that knee out to the side. And then take a breath in, lifting your head and shoulders up. Just clasp your hands behind your left leg, and then rest your head back down. Bring the left leg up towards the ceiling. So this is reclined pigeon. You're doing exactly what you would be doing in pigeon, but lying on the mat. So use your right elbow to encourage that right leg to open and point the left toes to the ceiling. Supta Kapotanasana, reclined pigeon. Okay, bend the left leg, plant it down on the mat, release your right foot, place your hands alongside the body and just drop the knees to the right and the left. Just ease out. And then we're going to do the other side. So left knee, bring it towards your chest. Place the left ankle just below the right knee, so the foot's out to the side. Lift your head and shoulders. Clasp your hands behind the right leg. And then as you lie down, straighten the right leg up to the ceiling. Point the toes And encourage that left leg out to the side with your left elbow. Just breathe here. Wherever you're feeling that tightness in the hips or the knees, or if it's the shoulders, try and relax your shoulders down. But expect there to be some deep stretches going on in the knees and the hips. Breathe into them. And then breathing in, bend the right leg, plant it down on the mat, release your left leg, and just hug both knees into the chest. Have a little roll. Plant the feet down, hands to the side. Take the knees right and left once more. So we've built it up. I think we're ready to do our full pigeon. So bring the knees up and over the chest once more. Take your hands to the backs of the legs. Roll along the mat. And then cross your legs at the calves, tuck the feet underneath you, hands in front of you, lift yourself up, your back into downward facing dog. So from your down dog, we're going to come into our pigeon, Kapotanasana. So plant the hands, spread the fingertips wide. Keep the hips pointing up to the ceiling. Find your nice down dog here. Take a breath in. Left foot stays onto the mat. Right leg up. Three-legged dog. Breathing in, draw the knee up towards the chest. And as you breathe out, you're going to place your right knee behind your right wrist. And the right toes go towards the left wrist. So just use the left toes to walk yourself back down the mat until you can bring your hips towards the mat. So if you find that you're dropping towards the right, this is where a block comes in handy. Let me get you back to that position. Because we want to keep a nice straight form with the body. We don't want to twist. So if you find that you're twisting, take a block and take it underneath the right hip. And that will keep that nice upright position for pigeon. Otherwise, focus on trying to get that hip down, but down in a straight action, straight and backwards, if you see what I mean. And then you can start to walk your fingertips back so that you're getting your spine into a much more upright position. Relax those shoulders and lift the sternum. So you know what pigeons look like. You know how proud their chest is. So try and emulate that, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Just gazing forwards and slightly up. Remember to breathe. Well done. So let's just release from this position, taking a breath in. As you breathe out, just fold the body forward, walk in the hands, either all the way out in front of you or fold them so that your hands are underneath your forehead, whichever feels good for you. Resting down in pigeon pose. Well done, everybody. That's all looking good. So from this position, just walk your hands back to the upright position. So you're lifting your chest and just bring the left toes back in. Release the right knee and take your knees wide and sink back into child's pose. Extended child's with the hands reaching forward. Then taking a breath in, bring yourself back up to all fours, toes into the mat, taking another deep breath in, breathing out, downward facing dog. So we're going to do all that on the other side. So planting your right foot into the mat this time. As you breathe out, the left leg extends. Breathing in, drawing the left knee up towards the chest and then place it down on the mat behind the left hand. Take the left foot over towards the right hand, so the right wrist. And then just using your toes, walk the right leg back behind you. Remembering the tip that if you drop into the left, take that block underneath you. That's it, well done. So now we're going to start to lift our chest. So walking your hands back so that you can relax the shoulders down. Tummy muscles are engaged. You're feeling a nice lengthening in the front body. And send the sternum forward as you squeeze the shoulder blades together. So it's quite hard to relax the shoulder blades down and squeeze them together at the same time. But if you do that, that's when the sternum will lift. And then you'll gaze forward, just slightly up. Like that pigeon in the drawing. And just breathe. And then walking your hands forward once more. So either placing them down with one hand on top of the other or sliding them all the way forward so that you can place your forehead down. That's such a lovely release if you can get down into that position. It's stronger on the left hip, but it is a lovely release to the top of the body, the arms and the shoulders. And then when you take your next inhalation, walk yourself up. Walk your right toes back in and release your left knee. Take your knees wide, toes together, sink back into extended child's. So breathing in, bring yourself back up. So we could have also tried the more advanced when you get into the upright position and you take your hands away from the floor and bring them to the heart center, but maybe we'll try that next time, or you can try it at home. So you're basically not relying on your hands to balance you here, and you bring yourself up into this position. Or you can take your hands to the thighs. So that's another one you can try at home. So we're going to come back into a seated position, and we're just going to release these hips. So sitting up, knees bent, have your feet quite wide on the mat and the hands behind you to support you. So the fingers are pointing away, taking a breath in. As you breathe out, drop both knees to the right. So have your feet wide enough so that the one knee goes into the sole of the other foot. So it's a bit like the Isle of Man flag, isn't it? So only two legs. Breathing in, bring the knees back up. Breathing out. Drop the knee to the other foot. So we call this position 90-90. So just coming up, not 90-90, 90-90. So coming up and twisting back to the side. Just easing out through the hips. Through all that work. Well done. So once you've done equal amounts on both sides, come back up to your knees and pointing up to the ceiling, and just lay your back down on the mat. Take your hands out wide in a T shape, extend both legs away from you, and then draw the right knee into that bent position, taking a breath in, and as you breathe out, drop it over to the left. Take your gaze to the right. And then breathing in, head back to center, knee back to center. Extend the right leg, bend the left one, and swap to the other side. So left knee over to the right. Take your gaze to your left hand. And then breathing in as you bring yourself back to center, releasing the leg out along the mat. And we're just going to finish with a few moments of Shavasana. So if you want to get your layers back on, bring yourself down to the mat. So lying out on your mats, find your Shavasana. Your legs slightly wider than hip distance apart. Let your toes drop out to the side. Your hands alongside the body in a gentle V, palms facing up. And just breathe here. Just notice, how is the body feeling? You did a lot of hip work, so you're probably very aware of those hips at the moment. Lots of good reasons for us to work at our hips. So just focus your breath into your hips. And with each exhalation, just try and let go. Ease any tension that you might be feeling. But when our hips are tight, They increase load on the back and they cause overuse of the spine. So opening our hips creates an energetic release or a shift. And sometimes that shift is related to emotions. So we say sometimes when we stretch and open our hips, we allow these emotions to melt away. But some people have even been known to feel a little bit tearful when they work in their hips. They are quite challenging, working your hips, doing these hip stretches, but stick at them. It'll give you all sorts of benefits. And why do we feel emotional? It's because of the connection to the adrenal glands just below the kidneys. So as you're stretching those hip flexors and stretching the muscles in the back, it's causing, it was activating the adrenal glands. And that's what triggers the emotion. There's all sorts of scientific reasons for this. So just take a few moments to let your body sink into the mat. Releasing any tension on your face, and your jaw, your neck and your shoulders. Just feeling the connection with the mat and the back body, your arms, your hands, and your legs, all the way down to your heels. And I'll just stay silent for 1 minute while you let everything go. Start to bring some movement back into your body now. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Rotate your wrists and your ankles. And with your next inhalation, floating your hands up and overhead and do a full body stretch point from your fingertips to your toes. And as you breathe out, just let the hands rest on the floor behind you. Take your elbows out to the side. Breathing in, bend your knees. Plant your feet on the floor. And breathing out, roll onto your right hand side. And then when you're ready, gently bring yourself back up to a seated position. So there is one more form of the pigeon that comes into a seated position, and this is called fire log position or double pigeon, and it's quite difficult, and it's not one that my hips will get into, but you might want to try it yourself. So basically you just cross your legs and you bring the you're trying to take your legs out into like this parallel position in front of you and stack them one on top of the other. They're just about getting into it. It's called fire log position. So it's one to finish with. Now your hips are nicely loosened. And we'll do our 3 breaths together. So reaching your hands up and overhead. Breathe in the hands to the heart center. Breathing in. Breathing out. Breathing in. And breathing out. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. Hope you can all still walk after all those hip openers.